How is it?
It is fantastic.
Yeah?
It feels so good. Fixing the car seems to be jammed and not crossing. That's so we can get our jib out. I think he's got it fixed, so we're going to try to fly wing on wing with our jib because we're nearly dead downwind and we only have the sail to use right now.
We've decided to skip the Abacos and just head straight to Cape Canaveral because with our timeline, we would have just done 2-day hops and not really done any sightseeing, so we're like, let's just skip it, do it some other time. So we're trying to plan our route to get from here to Cape Canaveral. So what we're going to try to do, haven't done this yet, is use the offshore predict wind, do the models, export the GPX, and then put it back into our Garmin, and hopefully that will work.
Yeah, because what we have going on, oops.
I gotta close the corner.
What we have going on is these different routes that you can see here, and we want to overlay those routes onto our Garmin so we have a better idea of our track and what we're doing.
Yeah, and based on what we're seeing, if we go up around the Abacos, we're on a beam, and then as we make that turn, we'll basically end up being on a beam again because the winds are going to shift from southeast to south. So we should be hopefully flying into Cape Canaveral. So I put the GPX file on the little SD card, putting it back into the thing, manage reading maps. That's our route right there. So I don't know what happens next. Manage card. Where was it we found routes?
No, close out.
Where to? Where to? Routes and auto guidance. What's in that? I don't really understand that. New. Yeah. Oh, it should show up here.
And what's it called?
It's got some goofy name. So I don't know.
We are en route from Eleuthera, Bahamas to Cape Canaveral, and there's hardly any wind. We're going more than half wind speed, which is awesome, but that we're still only going less than 4 knots. So Dennis is going to jump off the back. We have a line dragging and cool off a little bit because it's so stinking muggy.
It's a good current.
Yeah? You think I can do it?
Huh?
Do you think I can do it?
Stay close to the ladder.
Okay.
Just like do this.
Yeah.
How is it?
It is fantastic.
Yeah?
Ah, it feels so good. I'm not even sure how well this sound's going to come out because the waves behind me are very, very loud, but I just got sick. I'm on watch. Dennis is sleeping and I have a lot of hours before end of watch. I was able to keep down some peanut butter and jelly crackers, but the peanut butter is all gone and I don't want to go down in the hull to get more because it's just so rocking and rolling right now. It's the first time I've gotten sick in like a year, so I'm really excited. Studeron has made all the difference for me, but it still kind of sucked and I'm not feeling great right now. Are we there yet? We're back to doing night shifts as we leave the Bahamas and head to Cape Canaveral, Florida. Our first time entering the mainland United States. It's a little freaky. Just had a ship really close, had to alter course about 15 degrees to get out of path. And it's crazy when it's so dark because all you see is just this little light off in the distance. And you know, you can see them on AIS and, you know, it's all good, but it's just wild being so dark in the middle of the ocean. And even though we came all the way from South Africa, it's weird to be back on passage at night, but looking forward to Cape Canaveral and seeing a space launch.
Last night I had gone down to get some rest, but was woken up to the boat just bouncing all over the place. I could hear the code zero and the sails just flapping. Came up to see what was going on, and Ann was having a hard time getting the boat to maintain its heading. Even under engine power, was just struggling. So we got things under control with the sails, which was quite the adventure. But if you look, our steering cable is so loose because it jumped that piece, so I gotta fix that and put that back together because the engine on the port side, or the boat would not maintain its heading underneath on the engine on the port side. All right, so I got this unwedged because it was stuck in here. So that's back on the track that it's supposed to be on. But now I gotta get this piece back up onto here so that ends up riding up into that groove right there. All right, apologies for the noise, but you can see this is the piece that's super slack. So I gotta loosen this to give myself enough slack to get around that turn for the quadrant. And the way I'm gonna do that is to take this and let out as much as possible so that I can go to the port engine side and try to pop this cable back on. All right, so because I put the slack in the control closet, that's gonna fit right back into that quadrant. So now I gotta go back and tighten that as best as I can without this popping off.
Why is one line so short? So they only wrap the one?
I don't know, that's
I
how it
guess
was.
so,
I
okay.
just undid the half hitches.
Well, do I tighten it?
Yeah. Tighten it as tight as you can get it.
Last night I was on watch while Dennis was sleeping about 4 a.m. All of a sudden the boat just totally lost control. I thought something had happened with the sails. It was really dark last night, hard to see, and I was seasick on top of that. Anyway, I put the engine on, was trying to get the boat under control, couldn't get it under control. Finally Dennis comes up wondering what the heck is going on. And so I asked him to take the helm while I manned the sheet of the code 0 because it was flopping because of our big course changes. And it turns out he couldn't get the boat under control either, even with both engines running. And then this morning when I woke up, after going back to sleep, I noticed he was running the starboard engine, and I asked why, and he said there's no control on the port engine. So it turns out the steering cable had jumped on the port rudder, and that's why we had no steering, and that's why we had the shit show that we had last night. And one of the biggest problems with the shit show last night was the fact that our code 0, when we were trying to furl it up, basically somehow the line got caught on the leech line and then wouldn't undo, so it's flapping but wasn't completely wrapped. So we had to take that down manually, and that is a crazy heavy sail to bring down manually. And of course we have none of that on video. So Dennis went down into the port engine room and got the cable back on track, and then I tightened it up in the owner's head area where you have access to the Dyneema. So now we're going to put the port engine on and see if we have steering control. Fingers crossed. It looks like we got it working. We have steerage again.
We're maintaining our course.
Yeah, we maintain course when using the port engine. And at this point, our sail is so messed up. I think we're just gonna motor the last bit, because I can't imagine getting that code 0 fixed here out at sea with such rough conditions.
Yeah, so we've got good, almost high 18s, and the forecast is for low 20s. So I think if anything, we're gonna motor it, maybe motor sail it.
Yeah,
but
we could do main and jib,
yeah,
but no downwind sails.
So last night we had the steering issue where the line jumped the quadrant, and then tonight, again, at like 3 in the morning, all of a sudden the high water alarm starts going off from the starboard engine room. We're like, what in the heck is going on? Open up the hatch, and there's just a ton of water, salt water, just there in the engine compartment, and I ended up emptying like 2 buckets worth of salt water out. What we realized what had happened, the reason the bilge didn't go off is it's very easy to accidentally push and turn off the automatic bilge switch at the nav table. So definitely a lesson learned there, but just what a crazy night, especially, you know, of 2 days of a passage.
Is that most of it?
Yeah.
Does it need to be oiled?
What is this, like a
That is a lot of salt water.
how big is this, like a 5-gallon bucket? We are on our last, 100 miles from the Bahamas to Cape Canaveral, where we'll be back in the United States after 7 months. But this is probably, it's like 200-300 miles, pales in comparison to what we did all the way from Cape Town. But this has probably been one of the most exhausting trips. Last night was just such a shit show with the steering cabling going out. And then tonight, we got salt water coming into the starboard engine compartment. Don't know where. I think the hatch is sealed, but it's just exhausting. I mean, I know Anne had her moment a couple episodes back where she talked about her seasickness. But for me, it's just, you know, when you're trying to pull down a code 0 and you're just getting slammed all over the place, or just the rocky conditions, or just this constant shit breaking and having to fix it. I get it, that's boat life, but it's tedious and it's just exhausting. So I don't know. Well, anyway, we'll be back in the United States here in the next day or so. Woohoo!